that they've offered, that you have to understand some of the laws that have already been changed. You know, Jay, if I am charged with a political crime, I have a special status different from you and from anybody else in this room. I get to be tried in my home county. Everybody else is tried in the county where the crime was committed. And I have to tell you, that played a role on the retrial of Scott Jensen. He ended up being tried in his home county, and the district attorney reduced the felony charge to a misdemeanor. And that's what ended up happening.
You should tell them who the district attorney was.
I believe the guy's name was Schimmel, if I recall. So that, you have to understand what that law and the implications of that law. That's outrageous. There is no reason that a public official should be granted the privilege to be tried in his home county, and everybody else tried for anything else where the crime was committed. There's so many other things that come on. You know, the John Doe stuff is fascinating to me, because I just absolutely am stunned that they're trying to make the change on that. We know, you know, with a grand jury, you have to bring in 17 jurors. It's not just a judge and a district attorney. It's the district attorney, no judge, and 17 jurors. Now, you tell me, if there's somebody who wants to, say, bribe the county board member in his district to have the highway department pave their driveway out in rural Wisconsin, Adams County or Dodge County for that matter, are they really going to bring in 17 grand jurors? Probably 5 times, 6 times, because the first time the guy's going to say, oh, I want an adjournment, I need a lawyer. The second time the lawyer's going to say, I need an adjournment to prepare for this. And then the third time they're going to make a deal, and they say it's not really his fault, it's the county board chairman's fault, and you're going to end up having multiple occasions. Nobody's going to spend that money to prosecute public officials. And what happens is, once the grand jury reforms that are being offered by the Republicans take place, we are going to stop seeing, except probably in Milwaukee or Dane County or Waukesha County, maybe Brown County, there won't be any prosecutions of public officials. That's really what the impact of that changes that the Republicans are offering. And frankly, that's absolutely outrageous. They went after John Chisholm. I'm going to talk a little bit on this. You know, that was the personal attacks on John Chisholm were absolutely outrageous in trying to discredit him. And I am stunned that the Republicans would even try to do that, relying on people who basically lied. But there was one interesting thing that happened. When the federal court ended the second John Doe, the one focused on the governor and the campaign coordination, Judge Randa suppressed that. The district attorney and Mr. Schmitz don't have the authority to appeal. They have to first go to the Attorney General to ask the Attorney General to represent them. Well, the Attorney General basically said, I was not involved in this John Doe. I'm not going to be presenting somebody to represent you. So if the Attorney General chooses not to participate, you have to go to the governor for a special appointment of special counsel. Now, in the first time that they requested it, the governor said, and believe this or not, he said, I am going to create a Chinese wall between myself and my legal counsel. the legal counsel who he can hire and fire, and he will make that appointment. The first time, the legal counsel made a reasonable appointment. The second time, the one we're investigating the governor, Brian Hagedorn, the legal counsel, appointed a Waukesha lawyer who was a Republican activist. And I asked John, what kind of work did he do? He says he wasn't very enthusiastic about appealing this case. He was the lawyer who represented the Republicans trying to keep the candidates of choice of the Hispanic community in the last redistricting suit from being given the opportunity. And unfortunately, that the Republicans lost on that case. He appointed this lawyer Kelly. I think it's Dan Kelly was his name. And was surprised because he wasn't somebody who you would normally expect to be willing to take on the government. Well, Hagedorn made that appointment through the Chinese wall, and of course got the reward for doing that. Hagedorn is your new judge on the Court of Appeals that replaced Rick Brown about 3 weeks ago. So you have to understand what's happening on this. This is, to me, absolutely outrageous. Anyhow, I don't want to talk about that. There's so many other bills. There's so many other bills that are there that I could also talk about. But instead, I want to talk about a redistricting suit.